Hey everybody, it is September 1916. On the Eastern Front, the Central Powers, Germans, they pulled some units out of the line using their rail network. They pulled them back to here, basically getting their demoralized troops off the lines, rescuing some of them. Some of them pulled back to here at the crossroads, slowly moving their way back over here. They set up a defensive perimeter or line in the last turn, and in this turn they dug in at least one, trying to set up a blocking force what they can. Move some cav down here, down this rail junction, trying to cut off these Russian cavalry that are moving towards their backside. Now, over here in Austria, they did use up the Austrian rail to get their troops that they had moved up before. These are the ones that were in France. All these troops right here pulled out of France and basically leaving it they defending what they have to for garrison forces, but they're setting up a defensive line right here, protecting, hold out against Budapest. The Italians are on the move. They're mobilizing and moving all their troops towards the Austrian-Hungarian border. They've got them that far. So they railed them up to that point, and they're moving units, but they still have to garrison this area right here. They can move those guys out of there, but they're going to have to garrison these. They're probably going to move this troop cav to here for garrison, and these infantry will move out and move their way over to the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. They can go as far as 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they can form a defensive line up through here, if they can get their troops into position. Now that the British are causing havoc and moving up into the weak underbelly of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. So that is the full extent of what's happening right now. It's not looking so good, but they're trying to form up a defensive line, shorten their lines up, and then see what they can do with it. All right, we'll be back. Hi everybody, it is September 1916, Allied powers turn, and the Russians are advancing along the line over here, heading back over towards Riga. They had one attack that happened right here, this small little engagement. A couple corps attacked, kicked these guys back, and they're advancing down the line here. There was another small battle. The Russian cavalry took on the German cav and obliterated it. It was a good die roll. Yeah, good die roll. Took them out. The Russians over here dug in along the line right here, opposite of the Germans. They did move some troops into the line over here. The British moved up below, trying to find a corner right here on these German troops. Now, the interesting thing that's happening is over here in the Balkans. All right, there was a major battle in Austria. The British troops over here found the corner, got around the flank, and hit right here. They lost one corps out of here, and then totally wiped out the German forces that were right there in the corner. So they took them out. Sarajevo is in the hands of the British cavalry. Over here, the British cavalry are running down the line, cutting off all the supply line over here, which is going to make it hard for the Italians to get in here, because they basically are cutting off the only access they can get in here. Now let's see what else. Oh yes, Russian cav heading towards Budapest. So this could be interesting if they allow them to get any closer. Right now, the British cavalry is in striking distance of taking Vienna. The Russians could take Budapest, so they're going to need some more reinforcements down here someplace. They're going to have to, or either the Germans or the Austrians have to do something to protect our two cities from getting attacked. So yes, but the Germans are pretty busy right now, getting hammered by the Russians. So any of their reinforcements might have to go up there to stop the horde that's coming towards Königsberg. Now, believe it or not, this is going to be the interesting thing. You see that France has been denuded of all of the garrison forces that were in abundance because they all got shipped over here to Austria-Hungary. So there was a whole bunch of large forces that were parked over here, like in Paris and over in Belgium, in Antwerp and other places. So they had enough to counteract any type of invasion that happened, but no, not now. Look who showed up. The Americans. The Americans have landed. It's like, welcome to the party. So we have 3 American army groups have landed on the beaches or hit the ports, and now we're going to be maybe taking Paris back. It's a little late, but you know, imagine the French want their country back from the Germans. So that is the full extent of what happened in September. Right now, I'd say the Americans got a good beachhead, and any reinforcements that come in for the Americans will be landing in France, maybe even with any British troops. So we'll find out. Because right now, there's a major battle taking on Austria-Hungary, and they're going to take back France, probably. That's their goal. But it's going to be finding it interesting. Now, there's actually one big question. If you take back a city, now this is, let's say, in this game you have to have 3 minor cities in a rail network to say that you have supply lines, or major cities, a couple small cities and a major city. If the Americans take these cities, these small ones, and then maybe even Paris or something of that nature, is that considered back in supply? I know the French troops can't come back, but if they take Paris back, will that act as a resupply lines again? So the Americans don't have to rely on sea supply. Right now they're relying on sea power. They used up a bunch of sea power to get there, and now they are going to have to rely on sea power for supply lines. So I'm just thinking, if they're used to be friendly, they might be friendly again. Now the nice thing is, the American divisions, they're considered divisions, so 2 of them, each supply or each sea point can handle 2 Americans. So that's why they can land so many troops and still be supplied. All right, and over here we got the Greeks, then we have Serbia. We got a major Serbian cities back in the supply line, and then you have over here we got the Middle East box supply line going. So over here, these guys are no longer reliant on sea power for their supply lines because of the Greeks coming in and the Romanians. So this is all works good for these guys. So that's why the Americans can do their invasion. All right, we'll be back.